I'm going to show you how we integrated Microsoft Teams with SharePoint to deliver a highly efficient business workflow process for one of our customers, an investment company. They're running a Wisdom SharePoint intranet, and so they have all the usual stuff like news, and further down the page here we've got the teams that I'm a member of, so they're using Microsoft Teams, things like recent files that I've accessed in Office 365 and so on. But the really interesting thing I want to show you here is something called the pipeline. I've gone into an area here called the opportunity pipeline. Now, this investment company is continuously evaluating various companies who are looking for investment and essentially deciding whether or not to invest in them. And when they're doing this, they go through several stages, 8 stages in fact, where they're collecting information and doing their due diligence and deciding whether or not to invest. And as you might imagine, as part of that process, they're collecting and creating lots of information, and they're liaising with third parties and so on. Now, they wanted to do that with Microsoft Teams because it's an ideal place to sort of do that type of collaboration with people all working in one place online, generating that information, having conversations and so on. But they were concerned that it may become a bit chaotic, that in different teams people will be doing things in different ways with different documents and different templates, and just different processes essentially as well. And that also that information created or generated as part of some analysis of opportunities would be lost in the team for that opportunity, and it wouldn't be visible to other people in the business who were evaluating other investment opportunities. So they wanted a way to make this more consistent, more standardized, a more efficient and consistent process for evaluating their pipeline opportunities. So we integrated SharePoint with Teams, and this is what we have here. So this is the pipeline of opportunities. I can type in here a search for a particular company name, let's say. I'll put in Acme here, and I can click on Acme to see all of the associated information with that particular company and the investment opportunity. But if I was coming here for the first time with a new opportunity to add, this is what I would do. I would click on Add an Opportunity here, and I'll be presented with a form that I need to complete, providing all sorts of information about the opportunity. Now I've completed the form, I'm just going to click here, Add to Pipeline. Now that's been created in SharePoint, so I've got a new opportunity in that pipeline, and I'm going to click here to go to see that opportunities page. Now initially I've captured some information here and created this as a pipeline opportunity. Nothing's happened in Teams yet. No team has been created. We're really just collecting some initial information. We don't need a team yet to go further in the process. However, when we're ready and we've decided, yes, we're going to take this lead to the next stage, stage number 1, because we're at stage 0 at the moment, then what we need to do here is click on Proceed to Next Stage. Now, in the background, that's actually created now a Microsoft team, and we can now go into Teams to see the team that's been created and the various information that's been put into that team, the templates and so on, ready for us to populate. So here is the team that I just created via the pipeline, CF test 005 at the end. Now if I press into there, we've got currently 2 channels. We've got a general channel, which is empty, but we've also got a summary channel, number 1, summary. And that corresponds to the current step in the process that this opportunity is at. So if I go back to SharePoint, I'll see that we're at the summary stage, the first stage. And here we have just the summary channel created, but it's pre-populated the files area with the templates that need to be completed for this stage, in the summary stage. So before we move on to the next stage, stage number 2, we've got some files here that the people working on this investment opportunity need to complete. And we can actually allow them to change the templates that get put in there centrally, so that as you move to different stages you get different templates. If I go back to the SharePoint site, let's pretend I've collected all the necessary information here and I'm ready to proceed to the next stage, stage number 2. I'll click on proceed to next stage. Now, as part of the proceeding to the next stage process, the system checks to see if I've actually completed those templates that were in the summary stage. And it's telling me here that actually I've not completed them. It's detected that the file is basically still empty, I haven't modified them, I haven't updated them, and it's warning me that I haven't done that, and that if I'm going to proceed to the next stage, I'm basically confirming that I understand that I haven't completed this stage correctly, and I've got a sound reason for proceeding. So normally people would have completed these documents and you get a green tick next to each of these, but I've not done that, so it's warned me about that. So I'll click yeah, I understand, and I'll do proceed to the next stage. Now this is all logged, of course, so in the system log there'll be a note here that I, John Scott, basically proceeded to the next stage even though those documents weren't in place. I checked that box and I said I want to go ahead and do that. So it's all kind of audited. So we see now we've gone to stage 2 and that tab has appeared. We've got some extra information we can capture at this stage. And on the right we see that the documents area is slowly growing here. This is actually showing me documents from Teams. There's a new folder here called To Review that's showing from the team. And if I flick back to Teams, I'll go and I'll see, look, there's a new channel has been created, the Review channel. So when I proceeded to the next stage and I checked that box to say, yeah, everything's fine, that channel was created, the second channel. And if I go to Files here, there are some new templates and files for me to complete here. Perhaps reference information as well could be pushed in that would be relevant to this stage. So it's basically driving me through a process here and forcing me to create or populate certain information at different stages before I'm saying yes, we're ready to proceed to the next stage. Now we might decide at any stage of the process, let's say at stage 2 here, review, that we don't want to proceed with the investment and we want to decline the opportunity. So we can go here to decline, and that will set the status of this opportunity to declined. That will actually archive the team in the background. So I won't do that here, but that's what would happen if I was to press that. Or we could say, no, we want to monitor this opportunity. We're not going to proceed to the next stage at this point, but it's not a definite no. We want to just see how things sort of progress over the next couple of months or something like that in terms of how that business does. And it's going to go into a monitor status. So the team will continue to exist in the background. We won't archive that, but we do want to put it on hold, as it were. So there are a couple of other options there, as well as proceeding to the next stage. And also I should say that rather than going into Teams manually here and navigating to the team, there's also a shortcut to go to the Microsoft team there. So we can just shortcut to that. And also we could archive the team even if it's not being declined or monitored. There might be another reason for an admin to choose to archive the team in the background. So there's that control there, but that only appears to the sort of the overarching super admin, essentially. Now if I go back to the pipeline page, obviously the opportunity that I just added is now going to be in this pipeline, but it's worth noting here that there may be many opportunities being evaluated at any one stage, and it's possible to filter through those based on the status, whether it's active, declined, or being monitored, what stage of the process are they at, and so on. So this is an actual sort of searchable index of those opportunities, and because this data is stored in SharePoint, that is available for further reporting, for example using Power BI. So one of the things that we're doing next with this project is creating some Power BI reports to report on this information about these pipeline opportunities. The types of things that might be interesting are things like, how long typically does it take an opportunity that goes from all the way from stage 0 to stage 8? How long does that take on average? Also, what percentage of opportunities actually do progress to stage 8? What's the most common stage for opportunities to be declined at? These are all these are all stats that can be very interesting to the management team, and they're the kind of things that we're going to look at creating reports for. The data's there because we've developed a tool that logs every change in this system, including the date and time at which the stage changed, when files are uploaded, when information is added to each field, what the old value was, what the new value is, who made the change. This is all being logged and is ready to be exposed to the reports. It's just a case now of building those reports. And also we'll be training our customer to generate those reports themselves using Power BI.